Hello everybody and welcome back to Mental Health Mondays, where we talk openly and honestly about all things mental health, no bullshit, straight to the point. And today we're going to talk about rock bottom. I was listening to a podcast the other day where they were discussing rock bottom and they came up with loads of really interesting points. It was How to Fail, and it was Matt Haig's episode, so I'll link that below because I'm going to use a few things that he said in that which I found really useful. So I feel like a lot of us with our mental health journey will be able to pinpoint our absolute rock bottom time, and I guess for me I'm kind of lucky in the sense that my rock bottom was when I was younger, and I haven't had, thankfully yet, a period of time where I felt even worse than that. I know I have had friends who have had what they thought was a rock bottom, and then say 5 years down the line they've had an even lower rock bottom. So the thing is, there comes a point when depression or anxiety, whatever it is just going to completely knock you off your feet. And for me, it was when I was 17, one summer, loads of things happened and that just sent me in a spiral of depression where I just like didn't get out of bed for days. Led to me being put in a psychiatric unit, etc, etc. That was the lowest moment of my life. I remember it feeling like an alternate reality. I remember feeling like no one else knew how I was feeling. I remember feeling completely helpless because I knew nothing about mental health at the time, and I just remember feeling like, well, I actually don't have any desire to get out of this rock bottom right now. It's almost comforting to be in that place because you kind of have no responsibilities. But what I want you guys to remember is that you do have a choice when you are at rock bottom. I think there kind of comes a point where the actual pain that you're experiencing is worse than the pain it would take to take the steps to recover, if that makes sense. You kind of get sick of being that way and you're kind of like, okay, like maybe let's try and make some changes to my life. There are so many lessons to be learned from hitting rock bottom, and I talked in my last Mental Health Monday about positive lessons that mental illness can teach us, and I definitely think, like, for me, hitting rock bottom was, I guess, a good thing. The thing about rock bottom is, and this is a quote from the podcast, is there's a rock that you can rebuild your life from. It's not an ever-ending pit of despair. There is a solid foundation to build yourself up from. And as always, I'm just going to give you guys a few tips on kind of what helped me, and hopefully what will help you if you are feeling in a situation where you feel like you have hit rock bottom and you're feeling lost and helpless and just like utter shit and you don't want to be here. Number one, start small. For me, like, there was no like massive moment where I was like, yes, I want to recover now. Like, I can't remember. I think I just started implementing things in my daily life. Like, it was a gradual change from me not wanting to be here on this planet, because for a long time I did not see a future for myself, and there was a kind of like a slow shift into, okay, like maybe I can actually consider my future. So I would just make small everyday steps to just generally keep myself well. I was doing therapy after I got out of hospital, and I was kind of rediscovering, or almost discovering for the first time, what it is that I actually enjoy doing, and it just kind of gradually built up from there. Of course there were setbacks, of course I still ended up in hospital after attempts, but like, the important thing is that I was trying. And the thing is, we often sit around, like when we're in rock bottom, waiting for the motivation to actually be able to do anything, but in actual fact, taking the smallest step, doing the tiniest thing, as getting out of bed or just brushing your teeth, will actually then what's the word, it will not catapult you, but it will then kind of make doing things a little more easy, because it's motivation that follows action, not action that follows motivation. Number 2 is to make sure you praise yourself for your achievements. So if you have managed to get out of bed and wash your hair for the first time in a week or 2 weeks or however long it's been, make sure at the end of the day you're writing down these things that you have managed to do in your day, and it will make you feel a bit better about achieving things. And this can be anything, by the way. This can be like watching a whole series on Netflix, like finishing that it can be that, or it can be a conversation you've had or a positive thought you've had. Just make sure you praise yourself for the small things. Number 3 is distraction, and this was one of my like favorite coping techniques when I was recovering, because sometimes it's just too much to even go into like coping techniques and all of that. Sometimes you just need like a quick distraction to get you kind of away from that mindset. And for me, my distractions would be TV, it would be reading magazines, it would be doing puzzles, it would be spending time with my family, just small little things that are gonna kind of just stop me from thinking about the impending doom in my head. The next one is motivation. So obviously, as I spoke about in the first point, it's definitely action. Well, for me at least, action was the thing that led me to get the motivation. However, there are so many sources of like inspiration and motivation you can find. For me, it was quotes. I would spend hours on Pinterest looking for quotes to print out and put in my scrapbook. And it took me a while to get to the stage where I was able to read self-help books, because when I was at rock bottom, my concentration was just not like well, talk about small steps and building things back up from rock bottom. I started by reading children's books and just like easy to read books to actually get my concentration back, because just my depression had just completely wiped that from me. So self-help books, YouTube videos, you know, inspirational Instagram accounts that you might find, whatever it is that motivates you. I would definitely recommend implementing that into your daily routine. I always listen to this really short podcast every morning that's called Wake Up, Wind Down. There's one in the morning, there's one in the evening, and it's 3 minutes long, and it's just a really good like source of motivation for me that makes me really think. So I'll link that down below in case you're interested. But also actually podcasts are another really good motivational thing for me. Didn't have that when I was 17. Next one is to talk to someone. Reach out for help. You cannot pull yourself out of rock bottom without the help from either friends or family or professionals. For me, I was so lucky to have a really loving family around me, and I recognize like my absolute privilege in being able to have like parents that were so dedicated in helping me get better. In terms like therapists, the NHS service was pretty shit, but then later on when I was about 19-20, I was able to get private therapy, which absolutely changed my life. But just speaking to friends, and most of these were actually new friends that I had met, because I completely completely disregarded everyone from my past, because a lot of them just really weren't helpful or like positive influences in my life, and kind of rebuilt my life and made new friends, spoke to them. But yeah, it is so important, even if it's just speaking with a friend like online that you've met. It's really important to talk it out. And I know it's so hard when you don't really know what to say, or you just don't want to reach out for help and you don't want to burden your friends or whatever, but trust me, you will feel better after doing it. The next one is to use it as a reset. So I've been saying throughout all of this that after my rock bottom, I completely rebuilt my life. I completely like changed the direction that I wanted my life to go in. It, like, for me, being in a hospital environment for my mental health was like a reset for me, because I was in like this bubble and I had no responsibilities except for taking my meds, doing therapy, and like doing my collages and my puzzles. And it was like just it was exactly what I needed at that time. It was a reset to just think about, well, I say this, I wasn't thinking positive thoughts when I was in there, but it gave me time to just think about life and think about things. It is the perfect time to get rid of negative friends from your life. It's the perfect time to think about what you've always wanted to do for your career. It is the perfect time to just be rid of all the expectations and judgment and just think, no, like, this is what's important to me and this is what I'm gonna go and do and this is how I'm gonna live my life. And the final one is to appreciate the good that you still have. And I've put this at the end because it's a difficult one. We always get told that gratitude has been proven to improve our mental health, but I think it's so difficult when you're at rock bottom and you are that depressed to even be grateful about the things in your life, because your brain is just so consumed with negativity. But again, start small. Mine would just be my dog Lola, because I got her when I first started getting really unwell, and she was just a massive part in my recovery. Like, I almost lived my life for her for a good few years. She helped me, and I don't want to be one of these preachy people that's like, think about like that you've got a roof over your head, blah blah blah, because you don't give a shit when you're depressed and you don't want to be on this earth. Like, I'm sorry, but you literally don't even care. So what I'm going to say to you is, just try your best to think of things that you are appreciative for, and fuck the people that say, why are you depressed? You are, like, I used to get told that I was like too pretty and too clever to be depressed. Like, I'm not even going to go into that, because as we know, mental health does not discriminate. We have so many celebrities that die from suicide and we see their lives and we think that they're amazing, but you know, mental illness doesn't discriminate. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with a quote that I found, and it is, the good thing about being at the bottom is that the only way to go is up. So I hope that this has given you guys the motivation to go up. Take the small steps, start small, don't put too much pressure on yourself. But I'm sending love to all of you, and do let me know if you found this video helpful in any way, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.